Brother, have you ever looked back on a love and realized you were living on two different planets? You were on the planet of "we're happy, we're building." She was quietly orbiting the world of "I'm not sure I want this anymore." That moment of realization hits like gravity returning after a dream. It's when you finally see that what felt mutual was never mirrored, and the truth you were avoiding starts to speak louder than your hope. Every man reaches that breaking point where memory still burns, but the connection has already gone cold. You replay every text, every night she said, "I love you," searching for the glitch that broke the story. But there isn't one, brother. There's just the slow drift between two emotional worlds, yours full of faith, hers full of doubt. And this video is about that drift, about how to finally let go without losing yourself. We're going to break down the psychology behind why she moved on while you still felt anchored, and how to stop fighting for closure that never comes, so you can find peace that actually lasts. So stay with me, like and subscribe to Stoic Station, and start this journey now. Drop a 1 if you've ever felt that shock of realizing she's already gone. Drop a 2 if a part of you is still holding on, hoping she'll come back. Because sometimes, brother, the real heartbreak isn't when she leaves. It's when you realize she left long before you noticed. Now let's dive in on the shock of finality when hope collapses. Brother, there's a moment after every breakup that feels like a blade of silence cutting through the air. It's not the shouting, not the goodbye, not even the absence. It's that one still moment when the truth lands in your chest. She's not coming back. You replay every word, every message, trying to find a sign that maybe, somehow, she didn't mean it. Maybe she just needs time. Maybe she'll realize what she lost. So you break no contact once, just to see if there's still a heartbeat left between you. And she says the words you never wanted to hear, but can't stop thinking about. "I miss you, but I'm not changing my decision." That's the moment your heart stops expecting. It's when hope, the very thing that once fueled your love, turns into the weight that keeps you stuck. You thought time would make her remember. You thought the silence was a test, a waiting room before reconciliation. But what you were really waiting for was a miracle that would never come, because while you were still clinging to the story of what could be, she had already accepted what was. The pain doesn't come from her decision. It comes from the collapse of the illusion you built to survive. You trusted her to fight for you the way you fought for her, but she laid down her sword first. And now you're standing alone on the battlefield, still holding the memory of someone who's already gone. It feels unfair, almost unnatural, because she still exists vividly in your memories, but not in your life. And your mind, desperate for control, refuses to let go of a story that never got its final chapter. But here's the Stoic truth, brother. Closure doesn't come from her explanation. It doesn't come from that last message you keep hoping she'll send. It comes from your own acceptance that the story already ended. You can spend months searching for reasons, or you can decide right now to stop rereading a chapter that no longer belongs to you. Healing doesn't happen when you rewrite the ending. It begins when you accept the page you're on. Because the moment you stop waiting for her to return is the moment you finally do, and that's where the next chapter begins. 2. When love turns to distance, feeling unseen and unwanted. Brother, there's a unique kind of heartbreak that doesn't happen when she leaves. It happens when she's still there, but her eyes no longer see you the same way. You can feel the shift before she says a word. The texts become shorter. The warmth fades from her voice. Her laughter sounds rehearsed. And when you finally ask what's wrong, she says the words that cut deeper than silence. "It's not you. You didn't do anything wrong." That's the cruelty of it. It's not rejection because you failed. It's rejection in spite of everything you gave. You were loyal, patient, forgiving, and real. You showed her your effort, your consistency, your heart, and somehow that still wasn't enough to make her stay. She saw your best and chose to walk away anyway, and that's what stings the most. Because she didn't just leave, you watched her affection decay day by day, until the same woman who once couldn't get enough of you now finds your love inconvenient. You try to speak your truth, to express what you feel, but she looks away, restless, like she can't wait for the conversation to end. The woman who once said, "I love how open you are," now says, "You're being too emotional." You start to shrink in your own relationship, afraid that your honesty is a burden. You begin to feel invisible, like you're standing right in front of her, yet she sees right through you. But here's the paradox of love, brother. When someone stops valuing what you bring, it doesn't mean you're too much. It means they've run out of depth. Some people can only meet you at the surface, and when your love goes deeper than their capacity, they retreat. Not because you're overwhelming, but because your presence exposes what they lack within themselves. Don't chase someone who's drowning in their own confusion. You can't save someone who's still denying they need saving. Take that energy and turn it inward. Take one thing you used to do out of love for her. Write her letters, cook her meals, plan those small surprises, and do it for yourself now. Give that effort back to the person who's still here, you. Because detachment isn't about becoming cold. It's about returning warmth to where it belongs. The moment you stop begging to be seen by her is the moment you start seeing yourself again. And that's when distance becomes the beginning of self-respect. 3. The emotional split. Two realities that don't align. Brother, what breaks a man isn't always her leaving. It's realizing she already left long before she walked out the door. You're still in love with the woman you remember, the one who laughed freely, touched you like she meant it, looked at you like you were home. But the woman standing in front of you now, she's different. Her eyes are distant, her words careful, her affection mechanical. You keep asking yourself what changed, and the truth is painful. You did not lose her overnight. You just didn't notice her heart drifting away. That's the emotional split that drives men to madness, the gap between what was and what is. You're still holding on to the story where she's the one, where everything made sense. But she's already living in another version of reality, one where the connection is fading and the warmth has turned cold. You still see the best in her, she only sees the distance. You keep holding on, while she keeps finding new ways to let go. This is where logic loses to emotion. Your mind sees the facts. She's different, detached, distant. But your heart keeps whispering, "We were perfect." That conflict traps you in a loop of confusion, convincing you that if you just love harder, she'll return to the woman she once was. But love can't rebuild what only one person is fighting for. Her actions are already speaking the truth your heart refuses to hear. We were never truly aligned. Brother, the Stoics taught that pain deepens when we argue with reality. You can't heal in a world that no longer exists. The past you're clinging to is gone, not because it wasn't real, but because it served its purpose. She's moved on to her world, and it's time you return to yours. Stop trying to make her understand your love. Start understanding your own peace. Because the more you resist the truth, the longer you'll live in a story that only you're still inside of. And the moment you finally let that story end, that's when your freedom begins. 4. The painful realization, merging two realities into one. Brother, there comes a moment in every heartbreak when you stop waiting for answers and start facing the truth. It's not a loud moment. It's quiet, almost sacred. It's when you finally see that she wasn't perfect for you. She was simply the one who made you forget your own reflection. You built your world around her light, never noticing that your own was dimming. And now that she's gone, the silence feels heavy. Not because you miss her presence, but because you're hearing yourself again for the first time in a long while. After every breakup, two realities emerge. Yours, where love was loyal, deep, and sacred, and hers, where the doubts grew louder than the connection. You replay every memory trying to find the fork in the road, that moment when the worlds began to drift apart. But the truth is, you were both walking different paths long before the goodbye. She was wrestling with uncertainty while you were building permanence. You were planning a future while she was searching for an exit. When these two realities finally collide, it's excruciating. It's the shattering of illusion, the rewriting of everything you believed was mutual. You have to face the hardest truth. Maybe you were the only one still fighting for us. That realization knocks the breath out of you. It feels like losing everything. But what you're actually losing is the fantasy that she was ever standing on the same ground as you. And that's the paradox. What feels like your final breath is actually your first breath of freedom, because pain has a strange way of cleaning the fog off the mirror. You begin to see that she didn't fail you. She revealed what part of you was still unhealed. She reflected your capacity to love, your loyalty, your ability to give deeply even when it hurt. She was never your destiny, brother. She was your mirror. The lesson wasn't her love, it was your reflection. She came to awaken the part of you that needed to remember who you are when you're not trying to be everything for someone else. That's where healing truly begins. When you stop begging her to understand what she lost and start realizing what you found. Because once you merge those two realities, the one where she left and the one where you still cared, you'll see it clearly. She didn't abandon you. She released you back to yourself. And that, brother, is the first step toward peace that lasts longer than any love ever did. 5. Turning pain into clarity, seeing the true love story. Brother, one day you'll wake up and realize that the story you've been replaying in your mind wasn't about her. It was about you. The shift begins when you finally understand this. If she was already planning to leave while you were still planning forever, then she was never the love of your life. She was simply the chapter that revealed the depth of your heart. The real love story wasn't the relationship. It was the man you became inside it, the loyalty you showed when things got hard, the patience you held when you were misunderstood, the forgiveness you gave even when you were bleeding inside. That's not weakness, that's power. Most men think strength is about detachment, about pretending they don't care. But real strength is staying open in a world that tried to make you cold. You stayed true to your heart even when it wasn't reciprocated. And that means your capacity for love survived disappointment. Don't let heartbreak make you forget that, because what you gave wasn't wasted. It revealed something sacred about you. Many men lose themselves trying to prove they were worthy of love. They chase validation from the very person who couldn't see their value, hoping that one more text, one more apology, one more grand gesture might change her mind. But brother, you don't need to prove your worth. You need to protect it. Every time you begged to be understood, you handed away a piece of your peace. Every time you replayed the story trying to find your mistake, you forgot that your love was already enough. She didn't leave because you lacked something. She left because she couldn't meet you at the depth you were ready for. And that's not your loss. It's her limitation. The version of you that loved her, that gave, that forgave, that stayed loyal even when it hurt. That man is gold. He's the best of you. Don't bury him under resentment or shame. Keep him alive. Carry him forward. Let him guide the way you love again, but this time, direct that love inward first. Here's a simple practice to begin. Take a deep breath and write the sentence you never said, the one that's been trapped in your chest. Maybe it's an apology, maybe it's goodbye, maybe it's "I deserved better." Whatever it is, let it out. Then read it aloud, not for her, but for you. Because your silence has been carrying a weight your voice was meant to release. And when you finish, you'll feel something shift. The ache won't vanish, but it will make sense. You'll finally understand that the real story wasn't about who left. It was about the man who stayed, and how he's finally learning to come home to himself. 6. Reclaiming self-worth. They didn't reject you, they revealed themselves. Brother, there's a moment after she leaves when your mind keeps replaying the same question. How could she walk away after seeing everything I am? You showed her your strength, your softness, your loyalty, your heart. You didn't hide your truth. You gave her the version of you that took years to build, and somehow she still left. It feels like the deepest kind of rejection, not just of your love, but of your soul. But listen carefully. When someone can see every part of you and still choose to go, it doesn't mean you weren't enough. It means they weren't capable of receiving enough. Rejection isn't always punishment, it's revelation. It doesn't say you're unworthy. It says they couldn't meet you where you stand. What feels like abandonment is often protection in disguise, because the truth is, she didn't reject your love. She rejected the reflection of herself that love revealed. When someone's spirit is empty, pure affection doesn't fill them, it exposes them. You became a mirror showing her what she was running from, and instead of facing it, she turned away. That's not your failure, brother. That's her avoidance. Understand this. Someone who's indifferent to your pain doesn't deserve access to your peace. You don't need her validation to confirm your worth. You need your discipline to rebuild it. Discipline to not reach out when your emotions beg you to. Discipline to stop explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Discipline to rise quietly and redirect all that energy back into yourself. Because silence, when it's chosen from strength, becomes sacred. It's not avoidance, it's self-respect. The man who stays silent, not out of weakness, but out of awareness, is a man who has reclaimed his power. Every time you resist the urge to chase, you remind yourself that your peace is not negotiable. Every time you don't respond, you send a message, not to her, but to yourself, that you are done proving your worth to those who can't recognize it. Let her think what she wants. Let her write her version of the story. None of that defines you. What defines you is the quiet strength of choosing dignity over reaction, because the moment you stop needing her to see your value, you'll see it for yourself, and that's when the power shifts for good. 7. A better story awaits. Walking toward peace, not closure. Brother, maybe she's already with someone new. Maybe she's filling her days with noise, laughter, and distractions that look like happiness from a distance. But don't confuse activity with peace. People can move fast and still be running from themselves. You might see her smiling, posting, pretending that life is better without you, but appearances can't erase the truth that healing doesn't come from escape. It comes from stillness. Let her chase what she thinks she needs. You stay anchored in what's real. The hardest part of letting go isn't missing her. It's surrendering the need for closure. You think if she'd just apologize, explain, or admit she was wrong, you could finally breathe again. But brother, closure doesn't come from her. It begins when you stop asking questions that no longer have answers. You don't need her permission to move on. You need your own. The moment you stop seeking resolution, peace starts to rise quietly from the ashes of your expectations. Forgive yourself for holding on so long, for believing that if you just loved her enough, everything could be fixed. It couldn't, and it wasn't meant to. Love can't build bridges when only one person is still walking across. Stop blaming yourself for caring deeply. It means you lived honestly. But now, life is not asking you to forget her. It's asking you to forgive yourself for confusing persistence with purpose. This ending isn't a punishment. It's a pivot. It's life gently redirecting you towards something more aligned with who you're becoming. You were not abandoned. You were rerouted. Every heartbreak that empties you creates more space for truth, for strength, for someone who won't need to be convinced to stay. So stop waiting for her to look back. The story you've been clinging to has already served its purpose. Your future doesn't begin when she regrets leaving. It begins the moment you stop waiting for her to. Every time you choose peace over explanation, you're writing a better story. One where your power no longer depends on anyone else's return. Brother, the chapter with her has ended, but the book isn't finished. And when you finally walk away without needing her to follow, you'll realize peace isn't something you find. It's something you decide to live in, and that decision is waiting for you right now. 8. The Stoic truth. Letting go isn't losing, it's returning to yourself. Brother, letting go has never been a sign of weakness. It's the highest form of wisdom. It's the moment you stop chasing ghosts and start rebuilding your ground. It's when you finally understand that strength isn't found in holding on. It's found in having the courage to release what no longer serves your peace. When you let go, you don't lose her. You recover yourself. You reclaim the parts of you that got lost, trying to hold together something that was already slipping away. Letting go isn't about pretending the past didn't matter. It's about remembering that your life still does. You rediscover the man you were before the chaos, the one who had dreams, purpose, and direction beyond her. You begin to see that your peace was never dependent on her presence, but on your perception. You were the calm before she came, and you can be the calm after she's gone. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength that is the heart of Stoic truth. Peace isn't given, it's cultivated. The more you learn to master your inner world, the less the outer world can shake you. So take that truth with you tonight. Sit quietly. Let the memories come, but don't cling to them. Let them pass like wind through an open room. Every thought, every image, every what if that used to sting, let it move through you without resistance. The goal isn't to erase her, it's to no longer flinch when you remember her. Because when your heart stops fighting reality, your soul finally begins to rest. Letting go is not losing, it's realignment. It's returning to who you were before pain made you question your worth. The day you stop needing someone else to validate your value, you return home to yourself. That's where your true power lives, in the quiet certainty that you are whole, even without her. So, brother, stop waiting for the world to make sense again. You already hold the answer. Letting go isn't the end. It's the beginning of your return. And the man you meet on the other side of that silence will be stronger, calmer, and freer than you ever imagined. If this message reached something deep in you, stay with me on Stoic Station. Together, we'll keep walking, through heartbreak, through silence, through the storm, until you arrive at that rare kind of peace no one can touch. In the comments, write this truth. My peace is my proof. Because healing isn't about forgetting her. It's about remembering who you were before you needed her to define you. The moment you start building, creating, and living again, not to prove something, but to become something, you stop being the man who waits and start becoming the man who leads.